But thank you so much for joining our live Q&A. This is the first time we're doing this on the Modern Mystics podcast, so we're excited.
So
I'm Jennafer.
I'm Lola. This is our guest.
I'm Kenn. Hey.
Yay!
I can't get it to invite you.
Okay, that's okay. Just go live and we'll record.
Okay.
So we're having a technical issue. Our technical things are not talking to each other. So we've gone live on Kenn's Instagram, which would you share with them your Instagram? And we will type it in the chat.
It's the Rune Walker. TheRunewalker. So
if you're on Instagram.
On Instagram. I'm super privileged to be hosting your hosting your podcast on mine because mine needs some good live stuff.
Oh, good.
So yeah.
Welcome.
I'm gonna do this, and
Hi, everybody.
I don't know if this will screw everyone up. If it does, I'm sorry.
Okay,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, everybody. We're glad you're here. You're already kind of gathering, which is lovely.
Yep.
And thank you for being patient with our technical foibles.
That's a great word.
Thanks. I'm a big fan of bigger words, especially when they actually work or they make more sense than anyway.
Yes.
Hi.
Here we are. Now, how do I get... We are live. Okay.
There we are. Now turn your thing down.
Yes, let me.
We're getting there, guys. I promise.
How do I mute? Do you know how I mute, Kenn? Just volume down?
Just volume down.
All the way down.
Yep.
I'm super good at this. I'm super good. I just need to be able to see comments. Now I can see comments. Okay.
Yay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. We decided that we wanted to do something new and switch things up a little bit and also introduce you to people that we love and trust. And so between all of those things, we came up with the idea to do this live. And this is Mr. Kenn Edwards. Scoot over here for this one. There you go. Okay. And we're on 3 different devices. Please,
we got this.
We got
we're doing what we can. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. I will snuggle.
And I can scoot too.
Okay.
So. I think if you pull that out,
just pull it back.
Well, it's just the camera. Yeah. Wherever the camera is. Oh. So maybe.
Oh, you're just doing audio on that one anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, we do have video with it, but there we go.
Perfect.
Awesome. Hi. We wanted to talk a little bit about spirit signs or what constitutes a sign or what they are. If you have any experiences with them, if you have any questions about them. I had a hard time figuring that out when I was first kind of learning about spirituality. How did either one of you sort of, I don't know, how did it click into place for you?
Go ahead, Mr. Guest.
What was the?
While you're figuring that, we want to say hi to Rowan Wolf from Runecraft. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to try and keep an eye on comments, but maybe type in caps if I don't notice. I have old eyes.
Yes.
Don't. It won't be weird if you repeat yourself.
Yell, please.
Rowan, okay. Yeah, Rune Wolfcraft is a friend of mine from. Gosh, we've been friends for years ago now. He's an amazing. Gifted intuitive himself. So,
cool.
Hi, welcome.
Nice. So how did you get started with signs? I think is the original question.
So, I that's kind of a throwback to my days as a Mormon.
Interesting. Okay. So religion was sort of your first framework?
Yeah. Partly, well, it was one of them, right? Because being gifted the priesthood, we're
sorry.
Signs. I know. I'm so sorry. signs in my mental construct of that time period, signs were part of what we looked out for, right? It was part of the thing. And so, but the other part of me growing up, being young and growing up in small town Utah, was the church with my dad was getting in the truck and driving up into the mountains or driving out into the desert. And so he didn't really ever teach me to look for signs specifically, but I use this one all the time of even just watching the seasons change and kind of seeing what kind of winter we were going to have by the sunflower population in summer and fall and when it happened.
Interesting.
So signs kind of really started out for me to be a way of looking out for changes in my environment. And then, of course, back to the religion, it was very much, oh my God, did you feel that? I did too. It was like, right. And then we get crowd consciousness.
Got it.
They call it, oh God, I just heard it the other day, where you kind of infect other people, social.
You start to share delusion,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
start to
yes,
share delusion.
yeah. And you don't want to be the one who doesn't feel it.
Yeah, it's them person.
So of course you feel it. Yeah. So that's kind of how mine started. But after leaving the religion, the idea was that there had been such a large amount of time of not trusting myself that asking for a sign was like saying, hey, will you fill up my cup with water? Oh wait, I don't have a cup. So like not to put the cart before the horse, but like trusting myself had to become, I was trying to do both at the same time.
Right.
And that I think can be confusing, which is why, years and years later, my main push is you create your own signs and symbols and you tell your spirit team, however you want to put that, please use these, or, hey, use this now. So that's kind of where mine came from.
That's really excellent. And I think that's something that I think we'll probably see as a theme throughout this. The asking for specific signs is totally okay to do.
Yeah.
And that's healthy that you landed on that. I've heard a lot of people leaving Mormon culture that were taught asking for a sign was a lack of faith.
Yes.
And so a lot of people are afraid to ask for signs, or that they're doing something bad. So just, that's my little add on to that. For me, signs were, I don't know, I guess I was a dumb Mormon. I just didn't pay attention to a lot of things when I was Mormon. So I very much have always felt very guided and very led by signs. I think that's how I survived my childhood. I came from a pretty dark childhood background, and that connection with something bigger than me was survival. So for me, signs were, I don't die now. So that was good. That was yay.
That's fascinating, because I do think that the one thing, especially when we grow up in situations like survival situations, the signs we pick up on are other people's behavior first. The way they enter the room, the way they smell, the way they make eye contact or they don't. Like, those signs are all the ones we pick up on first, beyond asking for the universe or spirit team, whatever, to give us signs. And so we're very good at picking up the signs, but it's the mind shift also then from survival to thrival.
Yeah.
That also then changes how we interact with them, and creates a big, I've been studying a lot of neuroscience lately, and the idea about retraining how we function
right
is a lot Mm, um, it's an interesting concept of exposure to new instances, new things, so that we broaden our database to pull from when our brain is making the decision that we don't even know is made before before we think we're making it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. One of the things that I had made a note about wanting to talk about tonight was part of the reason why signs, like you'll hear, or at least I've heard often, maybe you guys have as well, feathers are a sign
Mhm.
spirit is trying to communicate with you. And birds are, in myth, birds are the messengers of the gods.
Mhm.
So feathers represent angels and also the messenger of the gods. Birds, sorry, throwing things. And to me, that's tapping into the neural pathway of
Mhm.
the universe.
Mhm.
So when we ask for signs that already have a pretty well-established meaning, sometimes it's easier for the universe
Yep.
to communicate with us that way. Have you found that? Yes? Okay.
Absolutely. I was also an English major, so but being an English major means you look for symbols, and symbols are something that represents something else, but signs indicate the presence of
Mm.
something or
Yep.
someone
Okay.
else.
Yeah.
So at least in my like general idea of things, and I think I'm sort of like a weird combo of the two of you. I I read people very well when I was a kid, and I would just get a feeling if something was off,
Mm.
and then I learned that to associate that with things that are outside of me
Mm.
once I knew, like, "Oh, that's off," or, "Oh, that's really great." You know, for some reason, I was able to kind of do the external signs after,
Mm.
but I think that's true of intuition. I think it comes through your body first. If you don't hear it, feel it, sense it, or whatever, then it comes outside your body and spirit's like, "Hello." But I think that you're right, like, the partnership is so important and just kind of figuring out what works for you. And it's so funny because the first thing I ever heard of signs was actually angel numbers,
Mhm.
Mhm.
repeating numbers, and I didn't really have a framework for angels except for, like, some Bible stories or things like that,
Yep.
but I saw repeating numbers all the time, and and so I was like, "Okay, maybe I need to look into this," and that they're, like, definitely branded angel numbers, but I feel like they
Mhm.
have been, like, in, like, modern times or whatever, but I feel like repeating numbers have been around as long as there's been numbers. Yeah.
Yes. A lot of people call them angel numbers, but we don't have to necessarily associate them
Yeah.
with angels. They are ancient, all the way back to ancient Babylonia, ancient Mesopotamia. They talk about numbers, and the numerology is significant. Astrology gets heavy into numerology, as you can imagine. We have a comment from Rowan saying that the retraining is hard, harkening back to what Kenn was saying.
Mhm.
And I would love to hear from you guys if you've had any of these signs or symbols or anything like that. Go ahead and, drop a comment. And I wanted to ask you, Rowan, if you don't mind typing in, what did you find hardest, or what did you find easiest about the retraining? Either one or both. We would love to hear that from you. Um,
I think also sometimes it's just creating different pathways in our brains, right? Like, if we do something new and we have a different association, my associations were just with my feelings, if something was off or if it was good. But now we can have, like, different associations in our brain with a lot of different kinds of experiences and things like that.
Mhm.
And so things that maybe would have scared us earlier or would have been very, like, super mysterious to us aren't
yeah,
anymore. And I think that's really important. Exposure to a lot of new things is good.
yeah. For me, I didn't have that like that reading of other people. I actually didn't start there, which is weird. I like you would think that. But I didn't trust anybody at all. So the only source was not human. I couldn't gauge human, and so everything went
No.
out for me. And I think that's probably sometimes not very healthy to bypass your lived experience. One of the tips that I give people today when they're talking about signs is being really present in the moment you receive the sign. Context matters. What were you doing right before? Had you asked for a sign? How did the sign show up? Was it years later? Was it 30 seconds later? I've heard reports of people asking for a sign, and they'll find a piece of candy. They'll open the door, there'll be a piece of candy right outside their door, or a flower or whatever. And so context matters. And I think being present in your body. And so if you did come from PTSD, awesome. You have a step ahead probably, and you're good at reading context in the moment. And that's a good like starting place for getting into signs as a spiritual experience.
Yeah, I mean, it provides you skills, right, to function in our physical and non-physical realms. Especially when you pick up on the vibe of somebody who is not vibing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
That's a good choice. Rowan says, fighting my logical side for sure.
Yep.
That's what was difficult for him in patterning and
Yep.
reprogramming to interact on a spiritual level.
Yep.
Also, he says that deer is a huge sign for me to recognize great change. So this is what you were talking about, Kenn, where we all have our own libraries and our own dictionaries to talk with spirit. And deer can be all kinds of things. For Rowan, it's great change. So that's really great. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. I think it's interesting too, because in my book, Get Your Shit Together 101, I didn't want to, it's always tricky to talk about religion and structures, right? Because we've all been so heavily
Conditioned
and traumatized, is the word I was going to use, by being within the structure. But sometimes the structure that you find provides you a dictionary of symbols and signs. And so there could be, going back to feathers, I have bird feeders in my yard, bird feeders in my yard, but I also have a colony of cats. So feathers was never like a great, I couldn't ask for feathers. And feathers also in my belief system, I guess, aren't really a big one. So it has to, like, I literally have to look down and be stepping over the feather to stop and go, is this or is it not? Because I might be trying to make somebody else's sign my sign, or whatnot. And so I think it's really, that's also right then in those moments is where it's necessary to have that trust, to have built the trust in yourself to go, okay, my favorite one is having the 3 stones in my pocket, or 2 of them, very similar in size. One is yes, one is no. Okay, is this feather a message that I'm missing? Because that tends to be what it is for me. Okay, I'm going to reach into my pocket, the two small stones, whichever one I pull out. No, it's not. I'm going to move on. So having like a checking system, like to make, so I didn't stand there all day.
A form of discernment.
Yeah. Yes. Until you, well, and in that moment, noticing what it feels like, so that I'm recognizing for lack of a better term, the vibration of a no when it comes to that. So next time I see a feather, I don't have to ask, or I'm gaining data of a yes, no. So I don't always have to pull stones as much. I'm getting used to what yes, no feels like.
I like that.
Jen, I'm really curious. Have you ever had a hard time, like Kenn, discerning a sign, or did you, like, are signs easy for you? Kind of thoughts on that?
No, I think in the beginning I had a hard time, specifically because I just figured it was all in my head. And that was one of the questions that one of our listeners asked, was like, how do I know if this is like a sign or I'm just making it up? That kind of thing.
Love that question.
Yeah, it's a really good question, especially because all of these things are so experiential. You have to kind of experience them for yourself, and then you can kind of decide, how it works. And you have to come up with your own kind of, I don't know, map key, or however you want to call it, your own little code, or, that kind of thing. So I feel like a lot of times the thing that helps me recognize signs is if they repeat. Because if there are synchronicities, meaning they repeat, but they're very separate, and they really objectively probably don't have anything to do with each other, but I think they do, or I'm making that association. Synchronicities can be a great way. So if signs are like repeating, then I go, okay, you don't have to shout. I get it, that kind of thing. But I think in the beginning, one of the things that's really, one of the easiest ways to recognize a sign is just that it's unexpected,
Mhm.
right? Like you're stepping right over it, or it just is on your doorstep when you walk out, or you wake up and it's in your head, or like you're just seeing something out the window, things like that. There's a lot of things about signs, and they usually indicate that you're not alone, or that you've got, I don't know, people on the other side watching over you, or you're connected, even if you're not feeling super connected in the moment. And so a lot of times the unexpected element helped me, and then the repeating element really helped me too. And it didn't have to be like, I wouldn't have had to see the same feather 3 times, right? I could have seen, like, I don't know, maybe a feather drawing in a book, and I would have been like, what? Or, something like that, unless I was looking at the guidebook of feathers. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just
Context
saying,
matters. Yes.
context really does matter, because I have parrots. So there are feathers everywhere in my house.
Yep.
So I don't think to myself, oh, these are all signs. I just think, oh, it's spring and everyone's molting, so it's not my thing. But if sometimes I will see, like something I'm reading will kind of pop up,
Mm.
and then I'll see like a billboard and it has like a motif, or like somebody's wearing a shirt that has a motif or something like that. So I feel like they're not like, I just had a gathering of signs. They were like, I'm going about my life, and I'm kind of stumbling upon them as I go. And those tend to help me in the beginning too.
Very, very cool. I have 2 thoughts on that. And then Ken, I would love to hear kind of your thoughts. Please, if you guys have any questions, type them in. I can only see Modern Mystics TikTok. So if you're on Ken's Instagram, maybe we need to have Ken look at that
They
for a
might be
minute.
hating me because I think it might have to be this way.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, and everyone's turning their head. Stick it
Yeah.
on the stand maybe, or is it too tall? Because it should
Then it's
flocking. I see. No, that's
Yeah,
great.
just-
If
I
you
think that's okay.
oh, hey,
look at us, we're
guys.
so
Maybe that's why I only
professional.
had like 4 people, because
They
they were
keep
like,
leaving.
They were all
I
like,
can't
I
do
can't
this.
keep
Yeah.
craning my neck. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I love this. And so the question that you referenced was that, is it made up? Is this in my head? Am I a little bit cray cray? First of all, statistically, we're unlikely to make up something negative. We don't want to.
Mm.
We want it to be a sign.
Mm.
So know that if you're thinking that wasn't a sign, probably that improves your odds that it might have been. If you're thinking everything's a sign, that decreases your odds that you're actually getting signs, because you're more prone to think optimistically when you want that. So just know that about the human brain. And second, on human brain stuff, the imagination activates all over the brain when it's in use, but the exact same pattern in the brain highlights when people are having spiritual experiences, when they're communicating in a metaphysical way, meditation. The same parts of the brain light up in like an MRI. So it feels like muscle memory. It feels exactly the same to your body to imagine or to have a spiritual experience. So that's part of it. That's also another sign that you can check off, oh, something's happening, because I wasn't thinking that grandpa was going to communicate with me with feathers, but the minute that feather hit, I felt something, and now I'm questioning if I'm making it up. Odds are that was a sign. Because all of those hallmarks are lining up the correct way. And then as far as repetition goes, we talk about this in an earlier episode of your spirit guides, of learning to talk to your spirit guides. Ask as much as you want. They're not going to get mad at you. You can't do it wrong. That repetition is a way to gain that muscle memory. So you know the difference between your imagination and an actual sign, and how to qualify and quantify that as a lived experience inside of you. What it is for me is different than Jen, different than Ken. And every person I've ever met interacts with spirit different. It's slightly tweaked and different. It can be, oh, I get really hot when grandma's trying to talk to me, or I get really freezing, right? I hear sounds, I smell things. All of the clairs are present through signs. They can come through a book, a TV show, whatever. So how are some of the ways you guys receive signs? And Ken, do you have any unusual, like, sign that came in an unexpected way, like Jen was talking about?
One of the ones that over the past few years has kind of developed on its own has been the pull to look at the clouds for signs and shapes, especially rune shapes with all the contrails.
Airplane pollution
Yeah.
for the win. Okay.
That has been an interesting, like, it's like when you're in a plane and you start to either go up or come down and you feel the pressure change. It's a densification
Nice
of
word.
thank you of the air around me that goes, okay, I need to look up. And so that's even pre sign. So sign for a sign for a sign for a sign, whatever. Right. And that's been one that has kind of developed over the last little while. And another one though that I use is, oh, hello.
We've added people to our live here. Let's maybe.
Oh, hello.
Pardon me, just a second. Again, our technical savvy. We're so good at this, you guys. If you were wondering if we should be doing
never
this,
boring.
Our tech person called out.
Nope. Now
Oh, we didn't
my
have a tech
photo
person.
thing.
nobody knows what's happening.
No.
Hey.
Okay, so maybe.
So I can get a drink.
Yes. Hi. While we're
Hey.
figuring out our technology because we're good at it. Any questions, any comments that you guys have? We would love to hear from you.
And don't forget that you can always find
You can add me.
the podcast
Yeah.
and go back and listen to all of the episodes from this previous season anytime you want to. And so don't forget, there's a lot of good information in these. How many hours? Like 7, 8, 10 hours of content now.
Yeah, I
For
don't
you.
know. We have 11 episodes out. We did a special Equinox episode, and then we're getting ready to release 3 more episodes, and then we're gonna do another series of 4. I'm moving,
Yeah.
so we're just kind of this and Ken, will you share with our listeners your podcast
Yes.
and other exciting things you have going on right now?
So just I'm going to say the F word. The podcast is called Go. I won't say it. F yourself. My vibration is just fine. And so I do that with a friend of mine, Debbie, and it kind of came out of this idea of trying everybody else's way that we're told is supposed to work. And so kind of breaking that down, breaking down the idea of love and light, breaking down kind of all of these different ideas. So it's been great. Yeah. So you can find that on YouTube or on Spotify. I think it's on
So sorry.
whatever
Sierra.
that one fun.
Hi, Sierra. Sorry.
Hi.
No idea what I'm doing. Oh my gosh.
We will get there, guys.
We're getting there.
Okay, so on Spotify and
I think iHeartRadio.
we are good at this. Stop with the comments. We are so good at
Thank
this.
you all for your patience with us.
If you know,
Okay.
we can do yours for free if you'd like us to
Come host
do
a
all
podcast.
all the tech for your stuff.
It'll be like the circus meets alive. Yeah.
One of the other things I think for signs, just as I'm holding the orange pen, one day I was driving down the road here in Salt Lake and I thought, interesting thought in my head. Kind of, I'd been contemplating a few things about how I was offering myself to the community and how that was looking, right? And so a couple of thoughts, one thought came across and I thought, okay, well, if this is, one of my signs is orange and orange cars. An orange car drove past me. I said, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. And I reached over because I was at a stoplight. I said, 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to show me another orange car to confirm that, yes, this wasn't just a coincidence. This was a sign. And sure as shit, about 1:30 in, another orange car came by. And so I knew I confirmed the sign with asking for another sign.
Right.
So you can do that as well. Like, I think we all feel a bit like we're at the mercy of everything else.
Yes.
And I think that's where taking back control of ourselves. I don't even like that word, but like
claiming your spiritual authority.
like just
Somebody has a podcast about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I think I know somebody who does.
Okay, it's good. All right.
So it's just about. I think that's why we're so hesitant to accept.
Well, a lot of our structures, whether they were religious
Mhm.
or just in school or
Yep.
whatever, is to accept that there's an authority and follow the authority, and that's the way you stay safe.
Yep.
And I think that we're more in partnership with spirit or guides or whatever your thing that's bigger than you is.
Mhm.
And so in my belief system or my like cosmology, there is no, it's not frustrating because it's not an authority that's giving you answers. It's like something that's helping you connect and something that's working for you instead of you have to meet a certain threshold and then you're worthy or that kind of thing. And so that's why I think even
Yep.
even if you want to have very I don't know, very like narrow kinds of signs and ask for them, you can. I have a client who was just trying this and she was freaking out because it was working. And I said, well, if she's like, I don't know, I saw this once and I don't know if that's a thing. And I said, well, then go ahead and ask for it again.
Yep.
And she was like, that happened really fast. And it was like a very weird, like she just had a very narrow, like some model of car that isn't even in like, isn't even, they're not still making it, that kind of
Right.
thing. So it's really fascinating. And I have other people that they find things that they don't buy in their home, right? Like
Yes.
a friend of mine has like every so often like bobby pins, which are, for people that don't use them, are like little hair accessories to kind of keep your hair in place. And her mom was, or your beard
I
in
use
place,
them
facial
from time to
hair,
time, yes.
or any kind of hair really. But her mom used to use them all the time, and so she
Wow.
doesn't buy bobby pins.
No.
They just kind of weirdly show up in her house, and she's like, "Oh, I guess mom's here," that kind of thing. So I think it's really fun when you find things that are not even, they aren't necessarily things that you would kind of encounter,
Yeah.
but then you keep encountering them.
Well, and Rowan says here, my wife and I see the number 37 everywhere. It's almost getting insane. LOL. So like you were saying with your client that
Yeah.
it's kind of freaky how
Yes.
quickly when we're listening, spirit will respond and
Yes.
start answering those requests.
And how people freak the F out.
Yeah.
When it does, because then they're like, oh my God, I don't really want the answer. Did I really want the answer? That's I tell people all the time, like, if you're gonna do this, you have to be sure that you're okay with getting the answer, because once you know the answer, you can't unknow it.
Yes.
And what you do with the information, what you do is who you are in those things kind of idea. So let me tell you the example I'm thinking of. When I had moved to Oregon briefly right before COVID, my niece texted me and said, I think grandma's dying. And I said, okay, let's ask the runes. Well, the rune of the grave came out. My question was, is she going to die in the next 2 weeks? The rune of the grave came out, and I don't always take that as that, but I was asking about it.
Specifically,
Yep.
right.
So,
Context.
yeah, context. So, I was supposed to, so I knew I was supposed to come down here for a business meeting, which would have put me here all weekend, and I would have seen my mom, but the business thing fell through and I ended up not coming because the business thing fell through. I'm like, I don't need to go. Well, she died like that next Tuesday.
Wow.
And so right. So I knew, and I chose not to come visit. What the hell does that say about me? Right. So then we have to deal with the repercussions of our internal dialogue of what kind of person am I that I didn't come see her? And was I really willing to take on that? Like, is she really going to die? Well, yeah, it's the runes and the connection I have with them. Of course, it's going to happen. And so we have to, I think even more than the sign, it's scary And it really tests our mettle to say, will you actually do the thing that the sign is telling you to do?
Yes.
Right.
That's so true. I think people well, it's funny because people either take signs very, very not seriously, and they're like, oh, well, and the universe is like clubbing them over the head with them. And they're
Right.
still like, I don't know why this keeps happening. I keep seeing hummingbirds or, you know, like that kind of thing.
Right.
Or they take them like super seriously.
Yep.
And I feel like, you know, you can kind of, in your relationship with spirit or the signs or whatever it is, you can kind of figure out, you know, where that happy medium is.
Mhm.
But I also think that people sometimes use signs as a way to just confirm what they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of what actually is the answer. So if you don't want, a lot of times people are like, a lot of my clients feel like the signs are that somebody's thinking of them, usually like a romantic interest
I
or a
see.
partner, that
Yep.
kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm important.
And they call you
Yes.
to have you double confirm
Yes.
that was correct. They interpreted the sign correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes that it is a little bit of wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like, well, I tend to feel like it's okay to ask for signs like that. But once you get them, just feel like, okay, instead of like, how about now? How about now? How about now? You know, like that kind of thing.
Right.
Where sometimes I feel like the poor universe is like, what else do you need me to do, sister? You know what I mean? Like, so I
Like-
think sometimes, you know, you got to be like, okay, that was that. And now I can move on.
My colleague calls them clue by fours. Yeah. Because we've
I
all
like
been
that.
hit upside the head with a clue by four.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so true.
Yes.
Well, and maybe we can shift a little bit to unexpected signs.
Oh, okay.
To that pattern where yes, you can ask, yes, you can get confirmation of things, but sometimes signs are surprising to us or shocking to us, and I think that a lot of people have curiosity about that.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't mind if we kind of shift, if
No,
any
no.
questions you guys have about what we've been talking about or what we're going to talk about next, please, you know,
Please.
share your questions.
feel free.
We would love to interact with you. So for me, I've had a couple of surprising signs. One of them, I don't usually smell things. I don't usually have that clair. Rarely does it come in. But in this house, I started smelling pot at like random times, but always I was sitting in the same location. And I still don't even know what that was, but I finally figured out none of the neighbors are smoking pot. It really is. I'm picking up a sign and I'm investigating. So sometimes we don't have an immediate answer, and that's not wrong. But I've done my due diligence. I know there's no neighbor smoking pot. There's not a explainable source for that scent. It's an unusual clair for me to be getting data from. So, you know, do some of those things for yourself. Check into, is this how spirit usually talks to me? Is this a new form of spirit talking to me? Am I supposed to develop a skill here? Is this because this is the only way that spirit can talk to me? And I have some suspicions about it. I think a land spirit is communicating with me. And so I need to stop using language, which is my primary. I get thoughts, I get feelings, I get language communications. And so I'm trying to switch to more a broader, like an idea, a concept, or a picture to see if I can get better communication. So I don't know. Have you guys had surprising, you've shared a little bit, some surprising, like, but usually from my experience with you, Kenn, is you've been asking for. So do you have any that predate you doing this work?
So, if I'm in the process of working with a client or a student or an apprentice or my gods or whatever, then or other spirits, then the communication is open.
Okay.
Right. But one of the ways I work in general is to all of my radar is turned down. The volume is turned down. I don't run around with my shit turned all the way up because I don't want to know. I don't want to know I don't want to know your shit in the middle of the Walmart.
Nope.
Like I really don't.
Nope.
So it generally has to be a clue by four. right? Like, and they kind of know that now with me, like whoever, right? Like, I have to see 3 hawks in a row. I see one, okay, and then 2 more, okay, for it to have an impact, because I don't because I work with people who run around looking for signs. We run around, whether it's to escape this life or whether it's because I want to develop my psychic abilities. So I'm constantly open. It would be like this. Have you used Google Flights before?
Yeah.
So with Google Flights, you type in where you are, where you want to go to, the date, and then it'll ask you, do you want me to track the flights? Well, yes, for that one specific flight on those 2 specific days. Do not track all the flights around the world for me.
It's too much data.
On all the days. Yeah, like so really narrowing it down and saying like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I would like you to look for. This is what you have to do. I don't want to be open to everything, because I also don't want to pick up on someone else's signs that aren't mine to pick up on, but because of my abilities, I can. And I think that's for me where, you say surprising, and I'm frequently like, oh, because it has to be a certain frequency or vibration, right, that catches it in the right moment so that I'm aligned with that message that's for me,
right?
That sign. So it frequently is, it does catch me off guard, because I'm going about my day like I'm a normal person without psychic abilities. And so then when it hits me, it's like, oh, okay, I got to start paying attention, because I'm not only serving the community, I'm serving the land and the gods and my ancestors. So that's a lot of different people to want to chime in and need something.
Right.
And so frequently it is because I try to live as embodied as possible, because my imagination is really good. My imagination can take me out of this physical existence, which means I don't think about bills. I don't think about money. I don't think about anything. And I live in la la land, which is not okay with me.
Yeah. Your astrology chart has some signifiers that make it very possible to live in an alternate dimension 24/7.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's common for those signifiers. So yeah, I believe you. I believe that that's a disposition that could come easily to you. And so that's important, right? One of the things as I was researching for this topic that I ran into a lot online was, am I crazy? Which we already discussed a little bit, but specifically I ran across a post of someone who had schizoaffective disorder, and they were talking about spiritual signs and how dangerous that is for them, because they believe God is talking to them through the TV. So if you do have some sort of mental health diagnoses or disorder, that does affect how you perceive spirit and spiritual things. And we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about healthy, normal interactions with spirit signs. Not that there's anything wrong with having a diagnosis, but just know that this maybe isn't the best information for you. So just want to clarify that as we kind of went there a little bit.
Look at you. Usually I'm the one that's like, please don't do this if this is not lawful,
no
good
crimes.
for you, things like that. I'm
Yeah.
usually like the practical one. Look at you. I love it. I was going to say, one of the things that is interesting for me is when things line up for me without me even really trying, that sometimes that is a sign that, people are looking out for me, or I'm not alone, or that kind of thing. When Lola and I were launching our podcast, we found this darling little studio in Salt Lake, and we really, really wanted to have our podcast launch party there. And we went back and forth about it a lot, but we just kept coming back to it. And so we had a great little party at this studio. And since then, at least like four people that came to our party have been like, how'd you find this place? And so I've been like, oh, good. Yeah, go. But the other day, we've been looking in a volunteer group I'm in, we've been looking for a place to meet and assemble. And somebody who actually came to our podcast launch party but didn't really realize it was the same thing, knows the owner of that space and came back and said, "Oh, these people might want to donate the space for our meetings and stuff." And I was like, I know those people. And it was one of those, like, first of all, very small world kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also one of those things where it was like, wow, it's so cool that like that kind of full circle thing just kind of opened up for us. And so that worked out really well. I also had a time where I was traveling and we had a family emergency in a different state and I didn't know what I was going to do. And instead of me going, I need a sign to know if I should go, help my family or whatever, I literally was like, if I'm supposed to go there, you're gonna need to figure something out for me. And then I just kind of let it out there. And then all of a sudden, like our first flight home was delayed. We ended up staying overnight in a city. And there were two options, and one of them would get me closer to where my family was, and I could just rent a car and go. And the other one was like, I don't know, way further away. And I'm like, let's do that one and I'll just get off the plane there. And so it worked out really well. It was even kind of weird because I went to go rent a car and the rental car place said, okay, we're all out of this car that you reserved. So we're just going to give you this car. And I'm like, I don't really care. It's me. I don't need anyway.
Transport.
Yes.
Right.
But then when I went to go turn it in at a different space, the guy behind the counter looked really panicked and he's like, you're not looking for this kind of car, right? And I said, no, I'm bringing you that kind of car. And he said, oh my God, thank you so much. We were short on these cars. We have all these people coming in. And so it was one of those things where I wasn't thinking, okay, I have to make sure this benefits as many people as possible. But like all of these like unexpected things kind of lined up and helped me see that, there was a lot of guidance in everything that happened. And that was really lovely.
So synchronicity as a sign in a big way for you.
Well, and I think too, like, I think when the one thing I tend to say is that synchronicity becomes every day when you're living you. Like when you're listening to your intuition, your instinct, when you're like, I think just being you and like trying to live as self-actualized as possible, you are then in the flow and all that stuff happens. And so when I get out of that flow, I know I'm out of alignment because all the synchronicity stuff that happens like that stops happening. So,
yeah.
So it's either, so then I kind of,
it becomes normal.
It becomes so normal after so many years of doing it that you look back and you go, oh yeah, like I used to like be like the little kid with the net running around the field trying to catch a butterfly, like trying to have a sign, right? Like I'm running around like chasing them, which is why I also usually say, quit chasing the lightning and become the lightning rod.
Nice.
Yeah. That.
And so I think people can really tell when you start living in that vibe, when the story that you told becomes their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like,
yeah.
And I also think that I don't know that we really talked about this, but underneath that is that I truly believe that the universe is working for me versus like against me. And so I think sometimes when people see signs and they don't necessarily have like trust with whatever whoever's sending the sign, whether it's like a loved one or whatever, guides, guardians, whatever, they kind of go, well, maybe they're just testing me. And that's unfortunate because I feel like for me anyway, everything's sort of trying to like figure out where I need to be and what I need to do and like all these things and what would be best for me. And so I think building a lot of trust with whatever your source is kind of a prerequisite for trusting signs.
I'm sorry, I want to ask a question to you guys. Will you guys please share with us like do you have questions about signs? I want to know, like, are you looking for signs from those who have departed? Signs from, like, what Kenn is talking about is living in alignment with yourself, but with your truth, your path, your spiritual higher connection, right? All of that being in alignment and walking in flow in that path. Are your questions about that kind of signs? What kind of signs are you guys looking for? And you can just put like flow or you know,
Dollar.
yeah, show me the money, baby. I want to know the lotto, right? Whatever.
Just dad joke. I'm so sorry.
We would love to know how to steer the conversation so it best serves you guys, because we do this for a living, and sometimes that's very different than what you need, right? We have very different needs for signs than maybe you do.
Yep.
And so I would love to know, like, what do you want out of this? We'll just keep talking if you don't share, though. So just warning you.
We're very good at talking.
That's how this will go.
That's how this will go. While you're typing in, because I know there's probably a little bit of a lag. I know there is, but
Yeah.
I think the other key, I think that's one of the important keys. I think the other key is to recognize that if you were raised in Western society, and especially in America, you are doing exactly what you were trained to do, which is compete. I'm not good enough. I have to do better. I have to change completely who I am to have anything. So when you were saying, you were kind of walking us through people making the decision of like, do I trust this? Do I second guess it? You have been trained to do that. So understanding that that's a program that's running, that you can then go, oh, that program's running. I can say, oh, that is not actually me. That's the program. I'm going to drop that over here and trust myself. Is an important thing to understand.
Yeah. I think of those as like our life cookies. Because, you know, when you're on like every single website now, it'll be like, do you want to accept all the cookies?
Yeah.
Or do you just want the essential cookies or whatever, like that kind of thing? I just feel like we're like, I need to opt out of this.
Yep.
Can I just opt out of that? That'd be great. And I'll opt into this over here, you know,
Yep.
that kind of thing. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think that awareness is important. Did you get a question?
Comment?
Sounds like, yeah. Oh, really? An everyday life recovery.
Oh,
So,
yes.
So yeah, I like learning to trust yourself.
And to your higher power.
And recovery.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being in alignment with that, being authentic to you and being in alignment with that. My favorite, like, I am not really a user of signs because that requires forethought and planning. And if you've met me, there's just running off cliffs that go on in my life. So that's not my strength. But I often will read something that I feel like, oh, I got to read this. And it will be this nagging, go read that, or go research this, or whatever, the next day or 5 minutes later, the person who needs that information shows up. Again, that's the being in the flow. And so I think that dreams or random things that happen that people are like, is that my dead ancestor? Is that this person? What is this? I think often it leads to thinking signs are these big events, these life-changing, and they can be. I'm not saying they're not, but often they're very small and subtle. And that's why we're suggesting that maybe you take some time to get to know how spirit talks to you, how source, how the universe speaks, the everything speaks to you, because that will shift how much you're getting of those signs, because signs to us feel like breathing. They're everyday things that we experience, which is amazing to live that way. But also I think they're not what everyone else thinks they are. It's not my world is not shattering that I smell pot. Right. Like that's just, oh, okay, this is kind of different, but that's it. That's as shattering as that's getting into my world. Not okay. If you joined late, sorry, you'll have to watch the recording.
That's a good segue into like a question we had from a listener, which is like, are the things that happen in my dreams signs?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I have lots of thoughts about that. So I get asked about dreams a lot. I work in psychosynthesis, and dreams are a potent source of material. But again, like you were saying earlier, and both of you were saying, what does that mean? You know, what emphasis have you put on that? If your spiritual alignment doesn't say dreams are a source of information, then maybe they're not. But dreams have so many layers, and my key for every person I've ever worked with is you are the decipher. Don't ask me, don't ask Jen, don't ask Kenn. about your dream, I can help guide you through it, and I can suggest meanings, and I can use my intuition and gifts to discern that. But better would be spirits talking to you through your dreams. That means, what does that mean to you? Like, dreams about buildings are common when people are dreaming about psychological, like reprogramming. They'll dream of their basement or the attic. It's somewhere where ancestors have access to them. So there are dream dictionaries. I have a really good one. I will run and grab it. I don't remember the name, but we can share that with you, that just suggest meanings. But like, I use animals for signs often too, when I will be outside, or like birds fly by, or I see an animal repeatedly on TV or whatever. Often I look at the habitat of that animal. I look at what are the normal behaviors of that animal.
Mhm.
If I don't know like what a badger is like, then I don't understand what spirit is communicating to me. If I understand badgers, then I can get more depth out of that meaning. So sometimes signs require homework.
Absolutely. And I think I think sometimes we think dreams are just this really passive thing.
Yeah.
And I think if you're really wanting to use your dreams to kind of bring signs in or decipher them, that you can kind of incubate some of those before you go to sleep. So before you are going to go to sleep, you say, I just need a sign about this particular, I don't know, a situation I'm in, or I just miss so and so and I would like a sign that they're still around, or whatever it is. You can totally kind of prime the pump a little bit before you go to sleep, and then kind of see what happens. There's a lot of different things that can pop up. And I love dream dictionaries. There's like 47
billion
different definitions for every single thing you might see in your dream. So you're definitely going with what kind of resonates with you.
Yeah, contextual, right? So
Yes.
I think one of the examples I use constantly is we're just walking through, like, picking up puzzle pieces. We take them home, we put them on the table, but we actually don't have the box to see what it's supposed to look like, right? So I think rarely, I do think it happens, are you going to get a sign that is an instant download of all the information you need to know about everything that is tied to, right? So I think it's a bit of a, let's live this and see how it unfolds. I also think if you're going to start doing a lot of dream work, you really should start focusing very intently on helping your circadian rhythm, which has to do with limited screen time. Don't leave now. Limited screen time.
Even though we're 7 minutes over, don't leave.
Appropriate food, and that doesn't mean McDonald's or Pop-Tarts. That
Kenn,
means,
why are you calling me out on
I know.
every possible?
I know, I'm so
Stop
sorry.
it right now. I'm leaving. I'm gonna leave.
Well, you are, because you're going to get that book.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
I am. Okay, keep going.
So, I think one of the things that we tend to kind of cast aside a bit is how much it influences how well we do, how much our the status of our body, the status of our body really comes into play. And so again, I told you I've been doing a lot of
Neurology.
yeah. And so the idea was like stopping screens a couple of hours before bed. Getting into the rhythm of when it's dark, go dark, right? And eating, because there's some interesting things that say it's tied to your metabolism as well. But the idea for me is, like, I feel a bit like if I'm hungry, we're all screwed, right?
Yes.
So, because it's not going to work right, it's going to be weird. I don't know what that's doing.
Yeah, I'm curious here.
And so I think it's the same in dream state. For the last year and a half, I wake up every couple of hours because Henry needed to go out. So I wasn't hitting a ton of deep sleep.
Right.
So also, if I went to sleep watching an ASMR video about making a potion from the fairy in the forest, right? Like, that helped me fall asleep. it's a good chance I'm going to be dreaming about those things.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things we can do to push or to clear the way for the actual message to make it not tainted. And so there are a lot of things that we can work with that way.
Another key for that. And are you teaching about dreams right now, or is it? That's
Yeah,
what I thought you
have
were.
a class coming up.
Yeah, where the journaling. I have my teacher that taught me psychosynthesis. He worked with a client that had been a avid dream recorder for 20 years, and the data that they were able to gather from those 20 years of journaling, about his dreams, they could start to see, this is the way spirit is talking to you. When you dream this happens. And now it's a full conversation with spirit. And writing down, like for me, I use a dream journal and I write down before I go to sleep, this is what I'm looking for answers for. And the writing, because I need physical action to invoke spirit for me. A lot of times that's why I like rituals and things of that nature. So when I write it down to invoke that dream, I want an answer to this thing. So please let me dream on this. And then at this point, I generally dream on that. But if I have fed myself, like you're saying, other content, maybe I won't. So I usually, I think the data is 30 minutes before you go to bed. That if you feed yourself anything, that will infect your dreams. So digestion, I just think if the body takes 30 minutes to start digestion, so maybe it's the same process for the brain to digest the data we're taking in.
Yeah.
So give yourself nothing but maybe a soothing meditation about nothing, just listening to music, watching a candle. Don't feed it anything, and then set your intention. If you struggle recalling your dreams, or you struggle in those areas, that's a way to enhance that process.
Great.
Because there's I now can tell the difference between, oh, my brain is just working things out that happen through the day, and I know when I'm dreaming about my mom and when my mom's visiting me in a dream. I know the difference. It feels different. There's more density to it, right? So the more time you spend doing these things. So I swear to God, if any of you say, I'm going to be perfect at this after a week, we need to have another conversation. Because how long have you been doing this?
Decades.
Yeah, same.
So I'm going to tell you you're a failure at this because you can't do it the first day from the point of view of a Western American society, public school attendee, right? But what I'll tell you is that you absolutely are great at it, and now you're going to get better.
And there may be some of you that dream, like one of my very best friends, her primary source of communication with the everything is dreams.
Yeah.
She's been dreaming since she was an infant.
Yep.
And she is in her 60s now, and she finally understands that source communicating with her. So even if you're proficient at it, you can still learn and get better and grow.
Well,
right?
And because it just keeps unfolding.
Yes.
It just, like, you get through level 1 on Mario Brothers and you get to level 2, which is the same, but then incorporates new things.
It will still take you a while to get through level 2.
I
think both of you are saying that, like, what you're saying about dreams can also be something that helps you recognize signs in waking life, which is, just keeping track of things. And after a while, you'll have data that's like, well, I kept seeing this and then this happened, or I kept seeing this and then I had a conversation that helped. So just kind of tracking your own progress, it gives you a lot of data. I don't think any of us just started like seeing big signs immediately. I think a lot of the signs and things we got in the beginning were kind of subtle or smaller or that kind of thing. And I don't think the universe is going to like dump all the signs on you in one day. So give yourself a lot of patience, a lot of grace, and just be able to kind of like, this is a becoming, this is something we're learning versus something that we're perfect at or we suck at or we fail. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, John just said, I have a reoccurring dream, which I don't like this one because this happened to me just this week, where I'm trying to run, but I can't. Like it's like running in peanut butter, like, you just don't move fast. And I wasn't running from anything, but I was trying to get somewhere.
Right. And it was slow when you did.
And it was, like I couldn't, I'm like trying to run, but, couldn't.
I think it's great when you have a dream to also pay attention to how you felt.
Yeah.
Like, were you super frustrated? Were you like, oh, this is kind of fun. That's slowing me down. Were you like, what the hell is happening? Like, were you just like curious? Because there's something about how you feel in the dream that also can give you a lot of things. Oh, what are you?
So
what did you find?
I looked it up in the dream journal.
Yay.
Running. To dream that you are running is considered a positive sign. But again, what Jen was saying is the key. Context matters.
Yep.
It suggests speed, energy, and direction. Those are all good things. If you're running forward, this indicates confidence or taking responsibility. To be running backward or away from something signifies fear or an inability to achieve your goals. A spiritual interpretation of running dreams could suggest that you are trying to do something too quickly. To dream that you want to run but cannot suggests that your ambitions are harder to accomplish than you thought.
Ugh, that doesn't work for me as an Aries.
Yeah, no,
I want it
doesn't.
now.
But I then use that. Like, I don't stop there. I then say, okay, running was, how do I feel about running in general? There was this time I was driving with Scott and my kids in the car, and we lived in DC at the time, and we were like 5 minutes outside of DC. So not an area that I would suggest running, but overwhelming me, get out of here. I've got to do something physical now or I'm going to explode as a human being. It'd just been one of those weeks, and I was like, pull the car over. I'm running home. And I did. And I just ran home. Running is liberation to me. It's freedom to me. It's, I can breathe. If running is, ow, I hurt, that's not the same dream. So your context, that's why it's your dictionary.
What it means to you.
Yes. And that's true of every sign, not just dreams.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I see shark stuff, that is a bad omen. Run. If my son sees shark stuff, that is the coolest sign from the everything that ever existed. He loves sharks. So you matter in your science. It's your communication. It's your relationship, your conversation.
Gabo is an X, which to us in our modern culture would be like, don't go there, like stop. But it means equal exchange.
It's shaking. Wait. How do we do this?
I don't know,
It's shaking hands.
Yeah. So it's exchange. It's reciprocity. It's balanced reciprocity. It's so it's a very different sign. So that's why like people come to us a lot, I'm sure for you as well. And I'm using my tools to interpret what I'm getting for you. Now, if you're going to interpret my tools, I don't know that that's the best use of your time, because I'm asking for the tools to speak my language. Not yours.
And you've developed a relationship with your tools so that you can communicate.
Yes.
You have your own dream journal, your own dream dictionary that you can communicate with, or the runes, or tarot cards, or just thoughts, feelings. Like that's a dictionary too.
That happens a lot where people will know what a card means and they'll be like, oh, that's not good. And but in the context of what I'm seeing, it actually is great. So it's one of those things where, your tools are pretty much attuned to you for the most part. And that way I don't have to learn, and my tools don't have to learn everybody's language. They just kind of, they're mine and I'm in relationship with them, and they figure it out from there. Yeah. It's way easier. Also, I just think sometimes people just want to be in the know, or they really want to feel like they already know what you're going to say. That happens a lot too. But, and I think even when you're talking to someone who's a psychic reader, that you can still hear what they say and kind of go, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'd like to see a sign. Or, if that's really true, then I'd really like to, see a blue butterfly today or something like that, and just kind of ask for confirmation about the messages you receive from others as well.
I think that's one of my favorite things about the two of you that I share with you is nobody's so precious. Nobody's a guru. Nobody's so right. All of us take our own interaction with source, with the everything, as the epitome of our spiritual practice. We're not looking to anyone else, and we want that for our listeners. We want you to learn to do that yourself if you don't already know how, because I think it's critical, especially now more than ever. There's a lot of voices and a lot of information out there, and learning to
Yeah.
sort through what works for you and what doesn't. That's a great way to use science. A great way to interact with the everything is to use those as tools.
And just claim your own spiritual sovereignty by figuring out what it means for you
Yeah.
versus what it means to every other person you meet.
And
Yeah.
I even, we've had this conversation, I think, in some of the panels we've done in the past, but I get rid of the word spiritual and I put in worldview.
Mhm.
And because spiritual for me is only one aspect of a life lived. And so when I'm talking to people, I say, so you believe in this, but really your 90% of your lived life is actually not in alignment with that. So until we line this up, you're going to be kind of getting
some
mixed
messages.
Yeah, like quit asking for Google to give you information and but tell it to give it to you in a language you don't understand.
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense to me. So, but
As much as I love that culture or that language, I still am
Right.
not going to get the
Yep.
depth, the nuance. No idioms will make sense. I'll lose
None.
so much communication.
Yes. And that's one of the things that makes English hard, right? Like, is if you go to most places where people who live here now came from, the culture had shared context. We have a shared context of you can lead a horse to water, but
Can't make a drink.
right. So we understand that. So I can say that to you and enough said. But because we have so many people coming in trying to communicate, we talk a lot. And this is where mansplaining comes from. We talk because we think we have to, right? But like, all I would have to say is that. And you were like, oh, yep, I know all about that person now. Like, I understand exactly. So it becomes, again, another aspect is you're learning a language. You're learning to speak a language. You're learning to hear. You're learning to hear a language.
Yeah.
And I for years now I've used the term I'm facilitating your introduction to your unencumbered self. And unencumbered means we're taking the saddle off, the blanket off, the bit, the reins, the whatever. And also we're taking you out of the corral, which you were broken in. And then I'm also having to take you out of the idea of walking in a circle because I can take you out of the corral and you're still just going to do the circle thing.
Yeah.
So it's that part of you, and kind of, breaking it down, stripping it back to the point where the signal is clear that connects you, all of you, and you no longer are picking up or filtering in the layers of things that we've been taught or told, the rose-colored glasses, the whatever. I want to help people, and like I'm continuing to use this myself all the time, become one with that one frequency that is just me. And that's where it becomes much easier to get the signs and symbols.
I agree. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
I have not seen a single question. I know we've talked a lot.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry if I just am not seeing them. So if we
Okay.
missed it, we'll try and respond to you. You can,
Yeah, in a comment.
send us an email or something too if we're a little slow on the uptake.
Absolutely. But thanks for joining us. This has been great. I love talking about this kind of stuff in general, but appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having
Can you
me.
tell people how they can get in touch with you?
If you would like to get in touch with me, Rune Walker, RUNEWALKER.com is my website. You can buy my books there. You can look at scheduling a reading, or you can just email me from there. In the near future, I will be at the Utah Pagan Market Beltane Festival on the 26th of April at the Utah State Fair Park.
Nice.
I believe it's noon to 7. I will have a booth, but I'm also speaking, and I'm also a presentation, and also facilitating a drum ritual with some of my colleagues. And yeah, so I'll be there pretty much all day. And that's kind of...
And at the beginning, you shared your podcast. Will you share that again? Because we've had a lot of people join since
Yeah,
then.
go F yourself. My vibration is just fine. And it's just about, kind of deconstructing and looking at the real aspects of, you're frustrated, I'm frustrated because we're trying to do this thing that we've been told to do by the young lady who has the hat on with the blonde wavy curls and the fringe. And there's nothing wrong with looking like that. I have zero problem with looking like that. But one size fits all is not how this is going to go.
Yep.
So I love you if you look like that, by the way. I wish I did look like that sometimes myself. Anyway.
I've put his website and the pagan market and his go F yourself, my vibration is just fine. Those are in the chat, so you can copy and paste those. I didn't get
We'll
links.
put them in the show notes.
Yeah,
too,
we will put those in the show notes.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you
all for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Good luck, everybody.
Have a good night.